Ladies and gentlemen, seekers of success and architects of destiny, today let us pull back the curtain on the daily strategies of those who win not by chance, but by choice. There exists a certain class of individuals who, no matter the circumstance, seem to rise, to conquer, and to turn obstacles into opportunities. These are not merely the lucky or the privileged. These are men and women who have understood that success is not a secret, it is a system. And today I will unveil the system. The first law of all achievement is definiteness of purpose. A person without a clear, burning desire is like a ship without a rudder, tossed by every wind and wave. Winners wake each day with their purpose etched into their minds. It dictates their decisions, controls their time, and fuels their spirit. Without purpose, effort is wasted. With it, mountains are moved. Next, winners practice daily discipline and self-mastery. They understand the truth: before you can command your circumstances, you must first command yourself. They rise early, they plan carefully, and they act decisively. They know that small, undisciplined choices steal dreams in silence. They govern their minds, for controlled, focused thought is their third strategy. Winners know thoughts are the architects of destiny. Whatever is planted in the mind and nurtured with emotion and faith will one day manifest in the world. They refuse to entertain doubts. They reject the weeds of fear and negativity. The fourth habit is persistent action in the face of setbacks. Winners are not spared from failure. In fact, they fail more often because they dare more. But when the world says no, they reply with next. They turn wounds into wisdom and defeat into fuel. Fifth, they practice deliberate association. You cannot soar with eagles while scratching with turkeys. Winners are fiercely intentional about their company. They seek minds sharper than their own, spirits bolder, and hearts braver. They understand you become like those you walk with. Finally, winners wield faith backed by action. They believe with unwavering certainty that their destiny is in their hands, but they do not wait for fortune's favor. They move, they labor, they persist. For faith without effort is mere wishing. So I say to you today, adopt these strategies. Etch them into your daily life. Let purpose, discipline, focus, persistence, association, and faith be your companions. The world does not need more wishers. It needs more winners. And the winner's path is open if you dare to walk it. Ladies and gentlemen, seekers of success, builders of ambition, and those who sense within themselves the power for greatness, today, let us unravel the daily principles of those who rise above the ordinary. There exists a group of individuals in this world who seem to win not by the fickle hand of fortune, but by design. Their victories are not accidents. Their triumphs are not coincidences. They have discovered that success is not a mystery to be solved, but a method to be mastered. The first and unyielding principle of every winner is definiteness of purpose. Without a clear, specific, and burning aim, even the most gifted minds become like ships adrift at sea, directionless and vulnerable to every storm. Those who accomplish great things in life wake up each day with their purpose carved into the very walls of their consciousness. They understand what they want, why they want it, and how their every action either brings them closer to or further from that goal. No successful life has ever been built upon vague intentions. Purpose sharpens vision, fuels persistence, and disciplines decision-making. It becomes the invisible force that compels one to rise early, to labor long, and to endure what others flee from. Winners know that a person without purpose becomes a slave to distraction and a victim of circumstance. Alongside this, winners embrace daily discipline and self-mastery. It is a truth as old as time that a person must first command themselves before they can command their environment. The victors of this world are not those who drift on moods or whims, but those who set rules for themselves and abide by them. They recognize that the small, repeated actions of each day, though insignificant in isolation, accumulate into the habits that determine destiny. Every indulgence in laziness, every surrender to fear, every moment of hesitation robs the individual of the life they could have claimed. Winners master their emotions, control their appetites, and refuse to be ruled by temporary impulses. They also understand that the mind is the workshop of all achievement. Controlled, focused thought is their daily ally. Winners do not allow random, fearful, or trivial ideas to occupy their mental space. They are gardeners of the mind, planting seeds of confidence, faith, and vision, and ruthlessly uprooting weeds of doubt and negativity. They recognize that whatever dominates the mind will eventually manifest in the physical world. No man or woman can entertain defeat and expect to live victoriously. Winners feed their minds with ideas of possibility and power, for they know that thoughts are the blueprints of destiny. Adversity visits all, but winners respond differently. Persistent action in the face of setbacks is their defining trait. They do not interpret obstacles as signs to quit, but as tests of resolve. Every great achievement carries within it a history of failed attempts, rejected ideas, and harsh defeats. Winners understand this and meet difficulty with renewed effort. They view failure not as a final verdict, but as a temporary teacher. Each fall, each loss, each disappointment becomes fuel for greater persistence. Winners also choose their company with extraordinary care. They practice deliberate association, for they know a person cannot consistently outperform the environment they accept. They surround themselves with minds sharper than their own, spirits more courageous, and ambitions just as fierce. They refuse to allow toxic, trivial, or faithless voices to have influence over their thinking. Association is not a casual thing for the winner. It is a strategy. They understand that friendships and partnerships either pull you forward or drag you under. Finally, winners wield faith backed by action. They carry within them an unshakable belief that they are destined for greatness, not by entitlement, but through effort. This faith is not idle wishing. It is a confident expectation, reinforced by daily, decisive action. Winners act, knowing that the world yields to those who move forward with courage and conviction. They understand that belief, when paired with unrelenting labor, is the force that bends circumstances and creates miracles. The second great strategy of every winner is the unwavering practice of daily discipline and self-mastery. It is one thing to possess ambition and quite another to command oneself to act upon it day after day, regardless of mood, weather, or circumstance. The truth every achiever eventually learns is this: before you can command your environment, before you can direct the tides of fortune, you must first govern yourself. A man who cannot rule his own thoughts, habits, and emotions will forever be a servant to circumstance. He will be tossed by every wind of distraction, weakened by every temptation, and defeated by his own inconsistency. But those who rise to greatness understand that discipline is not a punishment, it is a pathway. It is the bridge between desire and accomplishment. Winners know that their future is formed in the quiet, unseen decisions of each day. The alarm clock that calls them before the world stirs, the deliberate choices about how they spend their hours, the rejection of idle pleasures in favor of productive effort. These are not grand public acts, but small private victories. And it is these small victories, compounded over time, that build lives of extraordinary achievement. The undisciplined wait for inspiration. They act only when desire strikes, and their results are as scattered and unstable as their moods. But winners discipline themselves to act whether they feel like it or not. They understand that mastery is born in the moments when comfort tempts and they choose to press on. It is forged in the decisions no one else sees, when a person resists the easy path and takes the harder, higher road instead. Self-mastery, too, is not limited to habits of the body. It extends to the mastery of emotions, thoughts, and responses. The winner recognizes that the power to remain calm in the face of provocation, to stay determined amidst doubt, and to act decisively in the presence of fear is a mark of true strength. Emotions may surge like storms within, but the disciplined man or woman stands steady, refusing to be ruled by the tides of the moment. Winners do not excuse themselves from discipline because of circumstances. They do not blame fate, others, or fortune for their lapses. They hold themselves to a higher standard, for they know that self-respect is earned through self-command. Every act of discipline is a declaration of dignity, a reminder that they are the master of their fate and the captain of their soul. And so, if one wishes to rise, if one dares to achieve, let them first conquer the battlefield within. Let them command their tongue, their habits, their hours, and their thoughts. Let them practice daily and relentlessly the art of saying no to the trivial and yes to the essential. For discipline is not merely a tool of success, it is its foundation. Those who cannot command themselves will be commanded by others. But those who master the self by the steady, unyielding practice of daily discipline will find that the world itself yields to their will. Beautiful. Let's keep building this masterpiece. Here's your expanded motivational passage on controlled, focused thoughts in that same powerful, timeless voice. The third strategy employed by all true winners is the art of controlled, focused thought. Every man and woman who has risen to lasting greatness has first mastered their own mind, for it is within the silent chambers of thought that every victory is first conceived and every defeat first permitted. It has been said through the ages that as a person thinketh in their heart, so they become. This is no idle sentiment. It is an eternal law. Every word you speak, every act you perform, and every result you achieve is first born as a seed within the soil of your mind. Winners understand this. They guard their thoughts with the vigilance of a soldier at the gates. They know that the mind, if left unattended, will fill itself with weeds, doubts, fears, petty distractions, and poisonous opinions, and like a garden, it will produce, in accordance with what is planted within it. The average person allows thoughts to come and go without discipline. They permit their minds to dwell on worries, grievances, and failures. They entertain doubts as if they were harmless guests. But the winner refuses this. The winner selects thoughts with care, for they know that what is entertained repeatedly in the mind will one day take root in action, habit, and ultimately destiny. Controlled, focused thought means choosing the images, beliefs, and ideas that serve your purpose and rejecting those that do not. It is the deliberate act of filling the mind with visions of success, with solutions instead of problems, and with faith instead of fear. Winners do not deny reality, but they refuse to magnify obstacles. They train their minds to see opportunity in adversity, lessons in failure, and strength in struggle. Moreover, winners understand the power of concentration. The mind divided is a mind defeated. They refuse to scatter their attention on 1,000 trivial concerns. They select one aim, one chief objective, and pour the full strength of their thought and effort upon it until it bends to their will. Focused thought creates a magnetic force, drawing people, opportunities, and resources toward the individual with relentless clarity of mind. This discipline of thought is not a casual practice. It is daily labor. It requires constant awareness and correction, for even the most disciplined mind can be invaded by the armies of doubt and distraction. But the winner catches these intruders swiftly and replaces them with thoughts of power, confidence, and purpose. Controlled, focused thought is the unseen force behind every great achievement. It shapes character. It determines resilience. It commands action. It sustains ambition when obstacles arise. And most importantly, it forges the unbreakable belief in one's ability to claim the future they desire. If you would rise to mastery, begin here, in the secret citadel of the mind. Train your thoughts as a warrior trains his weapon. Choose them. Direct them, hold them steady upon your aim, and you will find, as all winners do, that the world outside bends to the world within. Excellent. Let's continue building this masterpiece of timeless wisdom. Here's your expanded motivational passage on persistent action in the face of setbacks, in that same classic, commanding and unshakable style. The fourth great strategy that separates winners from the defeated is the relentless practice of persistent action in the face of setbacks. If there is a single quality that defines those who ascend to greatness, it is not talent, nor fortune, nor even perfect opportunity. It is the iron will to press on when others quit. Life, by its nature, resists achievement. It tests resolve. It throws obstacles before the determined and hands setbacks to all who dare to reach beyond the average. And here lies the great divide. The ordinary man interprets these difficulties as signals to stop, as proof that fate stands against him. But the winner reads the same signs as challenges to be overcome, as lessons to be learned, as fuel for a fiercer advance. Persistent action is not reckless movement, nor stubborn repetition of failed tactics. It is the intelligent, unwavering commitment to move forward, to adjust when needed, and to refuse defeat. Winners understand that no man or woman has ever achieved anything of worth without meeting resistance. Indeed, they welcome it, for they know that the strength of a person is revealed in adversity, not in ease. The individual who quits at the first rejection, the first loss, the first moment of discomfort has forfeited the life they might have lived. But the one who rises after each fall, who learns after each failure, and who moves again with greater wisdom after each defeat, is the one destined to leave their mark upon this world. Persistent action means continuing when the path seems uncertain, when encouragement is absent, and when results are delayed. It means getting up earlier, staying later, studying harder, refining one's craft when no applause sounds and no eyes watch. Winners act not because conditions are perfect, but because their purpose demands it. Moreover, the persistent individual understands that setbacks are not signs of unworthiness, but necessary steps in the path of mastery. Every failure carries within it the seed of equivalent growth, if one has the courage to look for it. What the ordinary man calls defeat, the winner calls a lesson. There is no straight road to greatness. There are detours, roadblocks, and long, lonely stretches where progress seems invisible. But those who persist, who continue moving with fierce determination, eventually reach heights that others believed impossible. Let no man or woman believe they can claim victory without persistence. The annals of history are filled with names of those who, by sheer endurance, outlasted misfortune, outworked their competitors, and outlived their critics. Remember this: the race is not always to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, but to those who endure to the end. If you would be counted among the winners, let persistence be your constant companion. Act, adjust, rise, repeat. And when the world says stop, reply with action. For the one who persists, in the end cannot be denied. Outstanding. Let's carry this torch forward. Here's your expanded, timeless, motivational passage on deliberate association in the same bold, resolute style. The fifth strategy, known well to all who have ascended to lasting greatness, is the practice of deliberate association. No man or woman rises alone. Every individual, whether knowingly or not, is shaped by the company they keep, for we become like those with whom we habitually associate. The thoughts, habits, beliefs, and ambitions of our closest companions inevitably weave themselves into the fabric of our character. Winners are fiercely intentional about this truth. They choose their company as carefully as a jeweler selects a diamond, knowing that to walk among the uninspired, the bitter, and the faithless is to dull one's own edge. They understand that greatness cannot survive long in the presence of mediocrity without being poisoned by its doubts and small thinking. The man who dreams of towering heights cannot spend his days in the company of those content to live in the valleys. The woman who seeks to build an empire cannot surround herself with those who speak only of limitations and defeat. Winners align themselves with those who challenge them, those whose presence demands more, whose conversation stirs ambition, and whose lives bear the marks of relentless effort. Deliberate association means seeking out those whose virtues you wish to mirror. It means learning from the wise, walking with the courageous, and listening to the seasoned. It is not a matter of arrogance, but of wisdom. The one who surrounds themselves with small, fearful minds will soon think small, fearfully. But the one who walks with visionaries, with the bold, with the relentless, will find their own spirit sharpened, their own standards elevated. Winners understand that energy is contagious. Negativity, like a disease, spreads quietly through casual company, infecting the mind with hesitation, cynicism, and complacency. And so they guard their circle. They spend their hours with those whose lives are examples, not warnings. They seek out the builders, the thinkers, the doers, those who have refused to surrender to the ordinary. But deliberate association does not mean avoiding the world or scorning the common man. It means choosing one's influences. It means deciding whose words you will let shape your beliefs, whose habits you will allow to influence your own, and whose vision will either pull you upward or drag you down. The history of every great achiever reveals the wisdom of this principle. Kings, inventors, conquerors, statesmen, all sought counsel from the bold and the capable, not the timid and the defeated. For a person's destiny can often be foretold by the character of those they choose to call their companions. If you would rise, if you would win, surround yourself with those whose lives inspire you to climb higher. Let their courage become your courage. Let their victories kindle your ambition, and in turn, be to them a source of strength, a fellow warrior upon the path. For as iron sharpens iron, so does one determined soul sharpen another. Shall we proceed now to the final key strategy, Faith backed by action. The sixth and final strategy, without which all others would crumble, is faith backed by action. It is one thing to believe in the possibilities of success, to speak of dreams and ambitions, but it is another to act, and it is in this union of belief and effort that all true victories are born. Winners possess an unshakable faith in themselves, in their purpose, and in the justice of their cause. This faith is not born of naive hope nor idle fantasy. It is a resolute, unyielding conviction that though the path may be long and the road often shrouded in uncertainty, they will arrive at the summit because they refuse to stop short of it. But, and this is the distinction that marks the victorious, faith alone is not enough. The world is filled with men and women who believe, who speak boldly of what they intend to do, and who wait for fortune to deliver it to their doorstep. Their dreams gather dust, for belief without action is nothing more than a hollow wish. Winners act. They move forward, often before conditions are perfect, before guarantees exist, and sometimes before understanding fully how the road ahead will unfold. Their faith gives them courage, and their action gives their faith substance, for it is in the doing that belief finds proof and power. They understand that no opportunity reveals itself fully formed. Every great endeavor begins as a single, sometimes uncertain step forward. And yet, with each act of courage, each decision made, each task completed, faith strengthens. Action feeds belief, and belief inspires greater action, until what once seemed distant and impossible becomes inevitable. This faith backed by action is the quiet power behind the world's most admired achievements. The inventor who continues to labor after 100 failed designs, the leader who carries on when followers grow weary, the builder who lays brick upon brick, though the summit seems far off, all are driven by this sacred union of faith and relentless effort. Moreover, winners understand that action has a way of stirring unseen forces in their favor. Life, it seems, has a curious respect for those who act boldly. Doors open where none appeared before, allies arrive unbidden, and chances once denied present themselves to those whose faith is proven through movement. But let no one mistake mere busyness for decisive action. Winners act with purpose, with clarity, and with unwavering focus upon their definite aim. They do not squander energy on trivialities, nor retreat into endless preparation. They step forward, adjust as they go, and trust that each stride brings them closer to the life they have envisioned. If you would be counted among them, let your faith be visible in your labor. Declare your belief not merely with words, but with deeds. Rise early, act decisively, persist when comfort tempts, and let every hour invested be a testament to the strength of your convictions. For it is written in the unseen laws of life, those who move with faith, backed by action, are met by forces unseen, and in time will claim the prize that timid hearts could never touch.